Hey!
Everybody, welcome
Welcome to
back.
another episode of the Joe Rogan Experience. I'm your host, Joe
Oh my God.
Rogan.
Be honest. How long were you waiting to say that joke? You planned that
Long.
joke. No, I knew you. I knew it. I was like, that reference is in the way you said it as well. Very confident, and I was like, no, he's clearly planned this one. He's setting up his own jokes. Oh,
Well, that's amazing. What was it like being on a drug? I don't know.
yeah. Well, I'm an improviser. I'm an improviser, so I just use what I can get.
Yeah, you're the guest on the show.
Yes.
So this is on the Joe Rogan Experience. I know you guys are confused and you think I'm Joe Rogan. Yes, I get the comparison a lot, but I'm not. I'm not as good looking as Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm Jordan Peterson. The journey.
Oh, that's
Okay,
amazing. That's interesting. Yeah, we need to.
Yeah. What was this podcast about again?
This podcast. So
Yeah,
this
welcome
podcast
to
has seen anything good lately. We're professionals. We know what we're doing.
Yeah, of course. I just blew my nose. Very professional.
It's so Hollywood now.
Hollywood.
We got a Daniel Day-Lewis over here. Hey, what am I?
Jim Kelly over here.
We got a Charlie Chaplin. Just be quiet already.
Charlie. Okay. Welcome to Seen Anything Good Lately, hosted by Hatish Macon and me, Kendall Lana. The podcast where we talk about film, TV, and everything pop culture. Well, ish.
Joe Rogan.
And Joe Rogan, apparently, yeah. And when we're on the podcast, we like to go into tangents about Joe Rogan. How's that? How's that for interesting?
Joe Rogan's got a shiny head.
Okay. I'll take that. I'll write that note down.
Joe Rogan does UFC stuff.
Oh, does he?
Did you not know that?
You're so smart.
I am. Then I should be on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Okay, so Tish, is there anything you want to ask me?
Have you seen anything good lately?
Yes, I have.
You have?
Yes.
What?
I have seen recently. I've seen The Power of the Dog.
What a coincidence! I just saw that movie.
Oh, awesome.
I like how we just do this. I like how you just name something and I've seen it, or vice versa.
And we sound so very organic as well.
Yeah.
It
doesn't sound like we got a script in front of us. Or
teleprompter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we recently watched that new came out earlier this year. Jane Campion's was it early this year?
I times are blurring. Is it last year or this year? I'm not.
We were in lockdown. The lockdown really did set us back.
Times are blurring. We're already in March, so this year we're going through this year quite quickly. So this was directed by Jane Campion, like you said, New Zealand director. So this is like a special movie for us. I'd say it's a special movie for me. Anyway,
I think it's a very unique one. I would say because we don't get a lot of Kiwi directors on here. So is she our first Kiwi director that we're talking about here on the podcast?
Yes,
she is, isn't she?
Yeah. Yay! This is really good for us. This is something that we love to talk about, New Zealand films, and unfortunately, there's not a lot of them because of the way that the system's set up.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do get something, this is it. And this is a big Hollywood film as well, Oscar nominated. So, and this was filmed in New Zealand as well during our lockdown. So like
last year's lockdown or something?
Yeah, 2020, I think this was when it was being filmed. So I think they started filming at the start of the year, and then we got into a lockdown. And I think Kirsten, a lot of the actors were in New Zealand for a long time. I know Benedict lived here for a while, and I know there were other actors who weren't in that movie but were also here. I like to say like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He was in New Zealand. He was in Wellington, I think, when we were in lockdown.
Was it called the Mr. Corman or something there? Is that what it's called, that show?
Yeah. Was he filming Mr. Cormac?
I have no idea.
I don't know what he was filming, but he was here anyway, and he really liked New Zealand. I like hearing celebrities talk about our country. I don't know why. I just like when they're on talk shows and like Jimmy Fallon's like, "Oh, what did you think about New Zealand?" That's an amazing place. It's just a fun fact about me. So put that on my IMDb. Whoever does this.
So directed by Jane Campion. So she had previously directed The Piano, I believe. Yep. And this is like you said. I wouldn't say Hollywood. It's renowned. It's like it's reached Hollywood status, but I would say it's a Netflix production because that's that it's a Netflix. Netflix is forking out the production for this film, and it's filmed out here.
Yeah, well, Netflix is Hollywood anyway now.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
it's got big stars in it. Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh yes, yeah.
Kirsten Dunst, Jesse Plemons, Cody McPhee. Have I missed anyone else? I think those were the names.
Yeah, you got what's her name? The Kiwi actress.
Oh, of course. I'm gonna call her by her Shortland Street name because she was Pixie in Shortland Street. Thomasin McKenzie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's who she was.
Yeah, she for anyone that watches Shortland Street, she played a character called Pixie who had cancer. And it was kind of a big storyline in Shortland Street. I remember it was like a big deal when it came out. And now she's like, a huge star. She was in Jojo Rabbit. She was in Last Night in Soho.
Last Night in Soho, wow.
So, she's doing really well for herself. So I feel like because we were in a lockdown, maybe she was just kind of added into the cast and she was in New Zealand and she was free. So there's nothing wrong with it. She was doing
King Bunny as well, I think. Kiwi film that came out last year.
Yeah, that's right. She was.
And and she was Jojo Rabbit and stuff like that. So, but I was like, she's way too big for that role that she got in that movie. But this is a 2020 project.
Yeah, so you got to look in the lens of 2020.
Yeah, so these new films. So it's kind of a small role for her in terms of these films come out at different times.
And she probably got casted before Jojo Rabbit came out, right?
Yes.
So Jojo Rabbit came out 2019.
Yeah. It's difficult to predict these things, when they come out. Yeah. The Power of the Dog, an adaptation of a book. We'll go through the premise. What was the premise of that film?
It was almost like a slice of life of everyday life in Montana. So it's about these brothers who own a ranch.
Yeah. I didn't think it was like slice of life. I thought it was like these separate chapters recording the life of a staunch kind of like masculine Montana rancher who has a hidden secret within himself.
Yeah,
and you can see him. You can see basically it's like a character study. But we're seeing him behave as time is changing, and he's not adapting to it. So we get like the very chapter 1, his brother is thinking about like leaving or something. Oh, he's not connecting with his brother anymore.
Yeah.
because his brother wants to leave, and it's making him uncomfortable. So you see him like acting out like tantrums, basically. So
Like a little kid, really.
calls his brother George Fatso.
Yeah. I was like, geez, that's a bit harsh. Like,
I thought that was his nickname, and then I was like, oh no, he's because for the rest of the film he doesn't call him Fatso anymore. It's
he
because
just does it. Yeah, he just. It's like that, they're really typical brotherly kind of like.
Yeah.
But it's not. It wasn't playful at all. He like meant it.
And then he can see his brother's like making a connection or relationship with one of the other girls, played by Kirsten Dunst, who she is some kind of cook at the local restaurant.
Yeah, it's like a salon. Or...
No, the saloon was next door.
So it's some sort of like restaurant, but they only kind of serve like fried chicken.
Oh yeah, it's just like a basic eatery kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then
like a lot of the ranch workers would go there after work and have a meal.
Her husband was the town doctor who committed suicide.
Yeah.
And basically she's stuck with no, she's not stuck with. She is a widower, and she's a widow, and she has a son.
Yeah.
Played by
Cody McPhee.
What was his name? Peter?
Yeah.
And basically Peter himself may have some kind of so basically it's like it has a lot to say about masculinity, but it has a lot to say about sexual urges or sexual urges that we suppress. That's the word. Thank you very much. Suppress, and how toxic it can be when you don't let it out.
Yeah.
Because this is an old, I wouldn't say old man, but he's, Phil, played by Benedict Cumberbatch. He's like lived a life. He's lived the real country life, like being a rancher in Montana, and like he was. I think his previous partner and mentor was, because throughout the film they're talking about someone who wasn't there, who passed away.
Yeah.
Was it Buffalo Henry or something? Was it Buffalo Henry? No, not Buffalo Henry. It was Bucker.
Bronco Henry.
He's always talking about him and everyone. He's mythologizing this guy to all of the men, and but like when you see the way he talks about Henry, and it's about like there's something they had probably a homosexual connection. I don't know. By the way, we haven't read the book or anything like that, so maybe if there is a book, like the book tells us more.
But it kind of alludes to some sort of relationship.
Yeah. I thought it's so interesting. Like he's like this. He has these urges, and he's basically, it's like this grown man who talks about being a man, being masculine, being tough, and basically he. Behind when he's alone, he has a little private space, a little private lake to himself. He can be in that little private lake area. He can be himself.
Can be whoever he wants. Yeah.
And when he's by himself, he's just like he's
free. Like when he's in the lake, he's swimming. He's like he's naked. Like he's like at his purest form. He doesn't have like his his masculine his clothes or anything like that. It's like he's like letting go of who he like. Of
the rest of the world.
Yeah, what the world sees him as, and then when he's like swimming in this lake, this is his purest form, and this is a form, this is what how he'd like to be seen, is.
And he's like some of those toxic traits that he evokes when he because he's clearly suppressing so much. He's a lot. Yeah. He's suppressing a lot. Is when he becomes mean. He becomes kind of like unthoughtful, and he's stoking the fire and poking and prodding. I thought it was, from the very beginning of the film. There's Peter makes these fake flowers, and he puts them in and then he starts touching them gently. He actually, I think he likes them. I think he finds, and then so he's just like he burns it so he can get rid of it. because he knows that he likes it, and it's like
Yeah.
I can't do this. I can't be seen as liking this thing.
And also he's with his other ranchers who sees him as his leader. So if he's like, oh, I like these flowers, they might think down of him.
And it just reminds, I think it's a reminder of his urges, because the way he was tapping in, or just caressing that paper flower was just like it was romantic and slightly sensual.
Yeah.
So he by destroying that symbol of his desire, he has no desire anymore. He's like, just push it down. I think another great depiction of his kind of the idea of times are changing, especially in chapter 1, is the beds. So at the beginning of the film, he has 2 separate beds with his brother, but his brother's gone, and he's already gone out for the day, and his brother's like he's like he understands that his brother's not going to be there all the time, so that's a huge indicator, and that he's moving on. And then at the end of the film, he's like he's looking for his brother, and he sleeps on that bed. But yeah, they share the bed together.
I also think that there's a really interesting dynamic when George, Philip's brother, marries Rose, played by Kirsten Dunst. And when she starts moving in, she wants to do her own kind of thing, where she wants to play piano and stuff. But Benedict Cumberbatch's character just kind of says, "No, you can't do this," and that results her in drinking, becoming an alcoholic. I thought that was really this masculinity that he's kind of throwing at everyone.
Yeah, I thought that was him. I thought that was him rebelling against her. She's changing things.
Yeah, she's changing the status quo. Yeah.
I just want the guys and the men and the 2 servants are the 2 service maids down there. That's it. This is his way of life. He wants it to be the same like it was when Bronco Henry was here.
Yeah.
Keep things the same. But she's coming in and she's changing things. She's taking her brother away. Her brother's changing as well. I like one little detail, I'm not sure if you noticed, but throughout the film, something I really enjoyed was, if you look in the background, it goes from vast landscapes, open fields, Montana kind of thing. And then if you keep looking in the background, there's a scene where there's trees. There's 3 trees spread out or something like that. And then you watch again where they're playing tennis, and there's more trees. These trees are growing around the house. And then by the end of the film, there's a little, there was nothing outside the front of the house. And then in the end of the film, there's a little water fountain being made, erected.
I didn't notice it.
Yeah, there wasn't anything at the front of the house. And there's a water fountain that's erected at the front, so you can see the passage of time, especially when you see cars. I'm always looking at the cars because I've been watching Downton Abbey. And they introduce cars.
Right.
And cars are a symbol of that kind of industrial. They're moving into that industrial era. So maybe there's 1 or 2. All we see is just horses. There's 1 or 2, and then you go into at the end where we go to the funeral, and they're in the city, and basically there's all these cars everywhere. I'm like, wow. It's a status symbol as well. So I just want that neat trick of just using the backgrounds to introduce the passage of time, and things are changing. And we see Benedict Cumberbatch's character trying to rebel against change, kind of. But he's a very unique character. He's got these. We've seen these types of people in real life. He's really gruff.
He's very complicated, very set in his ways, but
he's got that bloke mentality of push it down, harden up, suppress whatever urge you have within yourself, and and there's toxic traits come out when he's just he treats everyone like crap, and everyone has to step on eggshells around him except for some of the guys.
Like obviously like an old way of thinking, and it's not like it doesn't fly now, like they're kind of thinking. Obviously.
Now we figured out that that's actually really very unhealthy.
Yeah, who would have thought that, like, you know, suppressing
Yeah.
how you feel and just being
Yourself.
rude and mean to everyone is.
There's a root. What did you think of the film?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. Again, this is like another Oscar bait movie. I mentioned this before. I'm watching all the kind of Oscar nominated films.
Yeah.
And this is very Oscar baity. It's got like, you know, it's like almost a trope now of like a period piece. It touches on
like modern themes.
Yeah, the modern themes, you know.
But it's a period piece.
Yeah.
There's a bit of drama.
Yeah.
If I can jump in.
Sure.
I thought there was a lot of interesting things about, like, a lot of interesting elements about the film that I really kind of enjoyed. I thought the chapters breaking. I liked it. Yeah, the chapters breaking the story down into chapters was very neat, and how paced the film.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
And how cool that passage of time I was telling you about. Yeah. Jade Campion's eye for cinematography and visual, like I thought it was really good in this film. I thought like not just the landscapes and sweeping shots, but like I thought like the first shot of the film and the last shot of the film, where we see Phil just walking through the ranch, through the windows of the house, and he's walking very staunch with his chaps on. Is that what they're called? Those pants.
Yeah.
Riders. Yeah, chaps, and he's walking like really long strides, staunches, and at the end of the film, he's doing it again, but he's at his weakest.
Yeah,
he's at his strongest and confident at the beginning of the film, and at the end he's at his weakest and vulnerable, very vulnerable. He's trying to look for the boy to give him the rope.
Yeah,
that he had weaved for him. So that's it, like just that kind of like the camera pan shot for the beginning of the end of the film.
Give her a Mandalorian or a Boba Fett episode.
Oh yeah, I can see
like
that.
I'd love, because like obviously this is a random tangent, but Bryce Dallas Howard, she directed an episode of the Boba Fett show, and it's like one of the best episodes. I'm not going to go into it too much, but I reckon she directed the best episode of the series. And I want her to get a Star Wars movie, or just like direct a series, like each episode.
I'm kind of, like I said, I haven't mentioned this before, but I'm kind of keen now that I've seen what they can do with a Star Wars TV show. I would like to see different shows, different genres from this universe.
Yeah. And they can just copy the Marvel blueprint. The Marvel blueprint has used, different genres and within the superhero genre. So like Captain America, Winter Soldier is a political thriller. Iron Man 3 is a technological thriller. Guardians of the Galaxy is a sci-fi movie. And they could do stuff like that as well within the world.
Yeah.
And I think Jane Campion could make a really cool, like they've already got, obviously the Western theme is already strong in Star Wars, but I'd love her to do like this like really cool Western sci-fi.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Especially after seeing The Power of the Dog, like it'd be cool to see some lasers and stormtroopers and lightsabers.
You know what? I'm really interested in
But she's really good at telling a story, like a really good character story, and I'd like to see that in a Star Wars movie.
In her cinematography, she does this thing that I really like. It's really interesting. It's where she'll pull the camera to something else. Maybe when someone was talking, maybe it's from a different angle when someone's talking. But she does this interesting thing that I really like. and it might be one of my. It's one of the most interesting scenes of the film. It's when they, when they're they're lifting the piano into the house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's a great scene where basically they're like, she's just talking about like, you didn't need to give me the piano. I barely know how to play. It's like, well, you're gonna, you just play a little bit then, something like that, or rather. And while the fellas are all hoisting up this piano, she's got this look of distraught because now she's not very confident in her ability to play the piano. But then the camera cuts away. It's an interesting edit. The shot of their feet being trudging through the mud before they it's like there's a small little ditch before you walk up to the stairs. And I just thought, I was like, and she's still talking, and I just thought that was super interesting. I was like, it's a very unique shot and unique edit. Like, why would you put that in there? It wasn't necessary. It wasn't like, I was like, maybe explain how the weight of the piano, because it's the boots are sinking into the mud. But yeah, I just thought that was really interesting. There's a whole bunch of interesting shots like that throughout the film.
I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was good. Again, Oscar bait, but
I wouldn't. I'm kind of past Oscar bait. I know it, like there's a lot of gratuitous Oscar baits. I think I would just call this like a quality contender. Like you and I have seen like real like Oscar bait, like maybe something to do with like, I don't know.
The Green Book is Oscar bait. Like
yes, that's Oscar bait. Where like they're trying super hard. With this film, it seemed like there was thought and heart and time.
I saw through it.
You saw through it? Okay. Well, yeah. Maybe I'm just my judgment is cloud at the moment. But still, I was just like, because this movie is like leaps and bounds better than Green Book.
Oh yeah, I still got gripes over Green Book. That shouldn't have won Best Oscar.
Oh my gosh.
It doesn't make sense.
It's a weird how we live in a world where Green Book won Best Oscar.
But also, like, there's another conversation to have with those movies. Does anyone really revisit them?
I mean, this is what we talked about. This is what we talked about at the beginning of I think the idea of we were having a discussion about Sam Elliott. It was Sam Elliott, the actor, had gripes with this film about its authenticity, with a Kiwi director directing a film set in America, Montana.
A film in New Zealand.
And basically, you and I got to a discussion about representation and a huge like there's a reason why Sam is allowed to have his concerns. It comes off a little bit bitter the way he says.
Well, he also cursed as well when he was saying his thing, so like it makes him sound even more bitter.
He's got that kind of like old man kind of curmudgeon kind of thing. But there's
truth to what he's.
You and I are on the page where it shouldn't, like, you get the best storyteller to tell that story, and sometimes it helps to be from that background, that to help bring that authenticity from whatever story you're trying to tell to the screen. It helps that you're from that background.
Yeah.
This also shouldn't be always the case. You should always be a great storyteller. And a great storyteller should always know enough research or embody some form of that background into the work. Because what happens is, like, we'll just go back to Sam Elliott. Like, he's a right to have his gripes with this film because he's lived that. He's lived that his entire life. And
a lot of his movies that he makes are these modern westerns.
Yeah.
And a lot of the
kind of like he's concerned about its the representation, the authenticity representation from the of the story to the screen by someone who doesn't have that necessary background. And basically we were just talking about the Green Book, where after the, it won. Did it win Best Oscar?
It won Best Movie. It won Best Picture. And I can't remember what it was nominated up against, but there were a lot of really good contenders. I'm just going to look it up.
So for anyone who didn't know, the Green Book, the Green Book is a great example why Sam Elliott should be concerned, because that film was based off of real events.
Okay, I've got it up. And so
it was based off of real events, and then later, after the film had come out, it had been revealed that, let's just say, from a certain point of view, that is not exactly. Some of those events did occur, but not in the way we were privy to watching the Green Book. And
so I just want to remind you guys and the viewers of what was nominated that year. So Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Roma, A Star Is Born, Vice, and Green Book. So there's already movies.
Roma and Black Klansman should have. Those two movies are far more superior than.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think most of them were better than Green Book, and I've gone back. I've rewatched Black Panther, rewatched Black Klansman, I've rewatched Vice, and I've rewatched Bohemian Rhapsody. I haven't rewatched the Green Book. So
the issue with Green Book is that they had given us a perception of that film that it was true and authentic, and then it had its roots in authenticity, and it did. There's a real a real Green Book where only African are allowed to say certain areas in America at that time. But the events of those two gentlemen going on that road trip, it's driving Miss Daisy again. It's not
but it's a role reversal.
And I'm just like, it's insulting. The families have spoken out. They were like,
Dr. Don Shirley's family has this isn't
that's not how he was. And I was just, wow, that's this is the kind of it was misrepresentation that kind of it gets Tom Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott up in flames. You and I, we're on the same page of I don't. It's tricky because
we can see where he's coming from.
Yeah, because when it comes to
but I don't necessarily agree with him. But I can see his argument. I can see why he would think that. It's like if someone made a movie about a New Zealander Indian growing up. Yeah. And they
do something that's unauthentic, you would be
they butchered the story, and they obviously my experience is different to maybe what the storyteller's saying, or if someone ripped off my life as a movie and had me as someone who just watches Bollywood movies every day, as opposed to because I don't watch any Bollywood movies, and they just portray me as watching these Bollywood movies, where in reality I watch everything but Bollywood stuff. So it's like that authenticness of
Jane Campion. I believe Jane Campion she went under some scrutiny for a similar event. Another event. So basically, she was asked if she had any what's the word I'm looking for? Personal experience that proved that she was she was asked, she was probed if she had any she was of that background of someone with homosexual tendencies, or someone who's LGBTQ plus,
Mhm.
that they give her the right to tell an oh my gosh.
LGBTQ plus story.
Yes.
Yeah.
And basically, I think she said she went to a brothel and pretended to be a lesbian, like when she was like younger in her younger days. And I was like, just to get into the mindset of a lesbian, I think, like for a story she had written, and then everyone like, and this is a story of a story that I heard from someone.
This is very This is very problematic.
Yeah, because it's such a weird thing. I went to a brothel and I hung out with prostitute, or so, like, not a prostitute. Actually, prostitute's a fine title, but I mean like um, a worker there, and pretended to be a lesbian, so she can gain some kind of insight for a story. And I'm like, there's research, and then there's just a weird.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
But okay, like
it's odd. It's odd. So yeah, Jane Campion, she's very, it's good that she's, a female Kiwi director on the map.
Yeah.
Most directors these days are, I wouldn't say problematic, but they everyone has their.
I mean, recent times, you get these older directors, like you get Francis Ford, and you get like Martin Scorsese, or who say like, these superhero movies are ruining the film industry.
Yeah. Those guys. I think those guys are.
Those guys are old man yelling at cloud.
Yeah, they are. They're always like, or like they're yelling at their neighbors because they're playing their hip hop music is just too loud.
Yeah, your hippity hop music is too loud.
When they know when they were their age.
Yeah. So there was an older director that said something about their
directors were saying the same thing about their film.
Yeah. Oh, there's too many mafia movies. There's too many.
Yeah, John Ford is probably like, oh my gosh, it's so violent. These these damn mafia movies. How many mafia movies can you make, Martin?
Yeah. Exactly. And I don't know. I don't know if it's them trying to get back into the zeitgeist of being in a conversation, or like, but like if it's their genuine opinion, that's fine, because
Yeah. But don't but don't act like you own Hollywood, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's playing the old guy card.
But it also just taints your legacy as well. When you say so, when they've made masterpieces, like none of like. Francis Ford has made masterpieces. Scorsese's got like 3 or 4 classics more.
Yeah.
Like don't. It's kind of like this thing that's happening in hip hop as well, when like older rappers like hate the younger rappers. It just makes them sound bitter, and it taints the way that they're perceived. And it's the same. It's the same thing in Hollywood. And I'm sure it happens in other industries and other genres.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm sure it happens in like jazz. I'm sure it happens in rock. I'm sure it happens in metal.
Yeah.
Like where things just change.
Always going to be an old guy. It that theme leads straight back into the Power of the Dog, where Phil cannot accept that things are changing, and he's unwilling to change with it. But do you know what happened between him and? I'm sorry to have just hijacked your conversation, but I rooted it back to the Power of the Dog, and that's where we are. I want to know: did he end up having a? I thought he was
I think they did.
Did they?
That's what the Road represented.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought there was an implied opportunity for Phil, but Peter poisoned him, right?
Yeah.
With the rat poison.
But I reckon, like, it could have been like
in his wound.
I reckon it was something. Like it could have been kind of maybe not consent.
There's another story in this, so we got like 2 stories. We got an old bloke, toxic masculine man, rancher, and we following his story about his urges and suppressing his urges. Meanwhile, there's another story where Peter is like a serial killer. Do you see him where he dissects the rabbit, and then he goes and he practices on that cow that got lost in the mountains, and then at the end of the film, his first prey is is Phil. So I'm like, there's two different films, there's two different sides.
Yeah.
To this film.
Yeah, but he's a surgeon. He wants to become a surgeon.
You know what? I was by the end of the film, I was like, when is this dude gonna go back to school?
School? Yeah.
I was like, this has been like a whole year has passed.
Yeah.
And he hasn't gone back. I was like,
because I thought he was just here for the summer or
yeah,
something.
And I was like,
no, but I think what happened was he saw how his mum was treated.
Yeah, that's what he did.
And then he, like, you get in protective mode, like when all he has is his mum, right? Like he doesn't really know George that well, and George was good to him. But I think when all you've got is your mum, you want to protect her. And when he saw, especially when she was hiding the drink and hiding the bottle, when she said she had a headache or something, or she felt sick, and then he saw the bottle. Yeah, in the beginning of the film, she said, "I don't drink."
No, at the beginning of the film, he says, basically what you just said. He says that when you growing up with your mother, she's all you love and care about something, and basically that's his confession. That's his there's no context until the end of the film of why he did it.
Yeah,
because he felt that that Phil was threatening his mother. Kind of like Psycho-ish, right? He's got that Norman Bates.
He'd be a cool Norman Bates.
He would.
Wow. I kind of want to. I know we just got the Bates Motel series, which was excellent. But I would be up for another Psycho remake. Also, you have a Rihanna T-shirt on. Rihanna played
yeah, she plays
Harriet. Yeah.
Harriet. Was it Tippi Hedren?
It was Marion.
No, I mean Tippi Hedren, the actress.
No, I think it was Marion. Jamie, look it up.
My final thoughts is I found the film was I found the film beautifully haunting.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's hauntingly beautiful.
Because you gotta it was so eerie and uncomfortable and haunting you because the film makes you linger on some of these on some of the shots. Did you find out who played
So Rihanna played Marion Crane, who was played by a famous Janet Leigh. So Janet Leigh is Jamie Lee Curtis's
Jamie Lee Curtis's mom. Yeah, Tippi Hedren is from The Birds, I think.
Yeah, but anyway, the movie was I really liked. Again, this was I say this a lot, but this was one of the movies where I was not expecting a lot going in. The only thing I don't think I saw a trailer for this either, so
it's a very haunting film.
I just kind of watched it, and it's one of those movies that's kind of stuck in my brain. I've been I watched it last Sunday, and I've been thinking about it a lot.
It's a very haunting film, in the most beautiful way possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very eerie, very atmospheric.
Yeah. I like the cinematography of it. It's really pretty.
Makes you linger on it.
Yeah.
On the scene.
Yeah.
It's still like it was still like kind of like serene is the word I'm looking for. Like it's like it's still quite beautiful to look at, yet the tiny little details, like the piano sound when she plays. I thought that was so scary. It was just like she only played it the same tune, and I found it very threatening. His whistling when Peter plays with the comb.
Yeah.
So the sound design is just very just kind of uncomfortable.
Any final thoughts of the movie?
I really liked it. I think it's worth seeing.
Is it? So this is something that we talk about as well. Would you rewatch this again? And
Ooh.
if so, like, how long would you wait till you rewatch it?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably like I was confidently just about to say next year.
Yeah.
But it's like a once a year kind of thing.
Yeah, this is like a lot of the movies that we've reviewed of recent times have been quite heavy.
Yeah.
And
but this one's quite light.
It's light in terms of what we usually watch.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But like, there are a lot of heavy themes in this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is like
it's like the themes are very show and nuancely. You know what I mean? Like very scarce.
It's an easy watch in terms of what it is. Does that make sense?
No.
No. So like, it's an easy watch for the themes that they were talking about.
Because it doesn't lay everything out.
Because often when you get a movie like that with these kind of themes, you can only you're like, oh geez, this is quite a lot.
Yeah.
But the way that it was kind of done was a little bit more tasteful, and it wasn't as heavy.
Yeah, it's not glaring. It's not bold punches. It's a slow paced. It like draws you in slowly. It's a.
Sorry, go on. No, you go on. You finish your thought. No.
It's just the pacing was just like it's a patient film, and it doesn't it doesn't drag you. It doesn't hit you over the head with strong symbols and images. There's a lot in it.
I just wanted to say, I agree with all your points. I just wanted to say that I really like Jesse Plemons as an actor, and I thought he did an amazing job. Like I like him a lot.
Yeah. We're on the same page, but I was just like, that's why you made me stop.
Yeah.
That's why you wanted to. Okay, yeah, you wanted to bring up the fact that you like Jesse Plemons. We're all Jesse Plemons fans here.
I mean, I've been a day one fan from Like Mike, where he played the bully. Mike? Yeah, he played the bully in the orphanage.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know he was in like. I just remembered him from The Master, where he plays the son. He plays
He's had some really he's been in some really interesting stuff over the years. Like Mike, an interesting film. Master, Breaking Bad, he was spectacular in.
Right. Jungle Cruise. I liked him in Jungle Cruise. He seems like he's enjoying himself. He's having fun.
I also liked him in Game Night. I thought he was fantastic in that.
What's Game Night?
It's a Jason Bateman, Rachel McAdams comedy movie.
Oh, yes, yeah.
With Winston from New Girl.
New Girl.
I love New Girl.
Yeah, you and me both.
I quote Winston all the time. Shame, shame, I know your name. I think that's such a great line. Like he's got really good comedic timing as well.
He's odd. He's odd.
And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. He's probably one of the greatest sitcom characters of all time. One of them.
Really?
Yep, he's like one of my favorite sitcom characters.
Oh yeah.
Like just his zaniness. From the start of the show, he was a straight man, and then gradually he just became this out of this world human being,
and
who was just fun to watch.
He was a good juxtaposition between everyone else's serious drama, and he became like the Homer Simpson. I was like, I I love it when Winston just shows up and randomly has like something to say or add. But yeah, The Power of the Dog. Check it out. It's a good movie. Jesse Plemons is in it. We like all the actors that are in it.
I didn't.
Didn't you?
I loved it.
Okay,
What-
so we're not gonna rate it. I just suppose we both really agree that we actually really like the film. I think it's pretty good. It's worth watching. I don't think it was hugely like great, amazing, magnificent movie, but
It was definitely like it was a good like movie.
yeah. And to be honest, there have not been a lot of like just decently good movies to watch. They're far and few between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll wrap
Cool.
things up. Thanks for watching, listening.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Hit the bell. Follow us on Instagram. See anything good
What
lately?
did you do? You just stopped talking.
No?
You were like hit the.
Oh, my line. Maybe the line cut out. I'll say it again. Hit the bell. Follow us on Instagram. See anything good like lately? Give us a like. Give us a follow. Message us. Comment on our pictures. Do something.
Yeah, tell your friends about this.
Tell your friends and tell their friends to tell their friends and tell their friends to tell their friends to tell their friends.
Until it comes back to us.
Yeah.
And we're
then we're like, oh, we already follow us. We're us. You idiots.
All right, cool. We'll catch you guys next week for another episode. See ya.
Bye.